I'll give you a bit of a TV recommendation. As mentioned before, I'm also a filmmaker and I love the arts. I was watching on Netflix a TV series called The Snow Girl. Now, this is a Spanish show, so it's got subtitles. Spanish speaking program. It's set in Malaga, Spain, and the actual like landscape and stuff like the city, and it was like so beautiful. I was like, oh, I want to visit. Which is ironic because it's a crime show. It's really dark, gritty crime show. However, just where my brain went, I was like, oh, Spain. Not been to Malaga. Been to other parts of Spain. And then I googled it, and it turns out Malaga is one of the friendliest, crime-free cities. Like lovely tourism. So obviously, this is a fictional show. And they're really fictional. It's based on a book, but I don't know if the book is true. I don't think it is. But anyway, so it's called The Snow Girl, and what it is about is essentially a little girl, I think she's 5, gets abducted, and like that's episode 1, straight away, like she's getting abducted, and it's set in 2010, but then it flash forwards to 2016 and then 2019 throughout the 6 episodes of the first season. And it goes back and forth in like kind of a pulp fiction style. So 2010, 2016, 2019. So it shows you the kind of like the overall story and then the kind of sub stories. So one is obviously the parents of the little girl that gets abducted. At 2010, they're obviously really panicking, working with the police, begging to the media, bring back our girl, whatever. And then in 2016, it's kind of showing their separation and how obviously they're dealing with grief. And by the way, the acting is fantastic. I don't know any of the actors. They're all Spanish actors, so not something I would have recognized them in. But they're all fantastic. Like for the mom to portray the grief of her child being abducted and everything else is like wow, like you're really really just like hooked right into the scene because of how good the acting is. And then the dad and the grief of like the regret because in the scene of her abduction he lets go of her hand, and then she kind of wanders off and eventually gets abducted. So that's again is like how could you, what happened, blah blah. And then the relationship in terms of the marriage, apparently in this story like the father was more attentive and the mother was overworking, so kind of a spin-off of what the traditional story would be in a more of a cliche marriage. um and then you've got the police and then a journalist. They're the ones doing the detective work. So the police are kind of the classic thing. It's the two police officers. The main lead police detective is a woman, and I think her backstory is not revealed, but I think her daughter has died. I think that's the backstory. It's not revealed in the show, but they're kind of giving clues throughout it of like, oh yeah, this person's definitely like you wouldn't know what it's like to be a mother, that type of thing. And then they show her looking at a picture of a young girl. So clearly something has happened in her life, and you can see it in her like eyes and the acting. Again, it's very like subtle. And then you've got the lead journalist. Now the lead journalist's story, she's really the lead of the whole TV series. The whole TV series revolves around her, and then the second season where they have another completely separate story, she's involved in. But referring to season 1, so the lead journalist, her background story is, I think, well, it doesn't say when, but I'm guessing when she was like her university days. She was raped on the beach, right? Because in the flashback scenes, it shows her like, and then she has all like the PTSD moments and stuff, and the trauma and everything else. So it's really, again, we're talking about like acting to show a person's journey through their overcoming this thing. The acting is fantastic, and again, it goes 2010, 2016, 2019. So all the characters have aged 9 years, somewhat in that time frame. So you see how stronger the person becomes from like the 2010 character to the 2016 character, 2019 character. It's the same character, but obviously, like anyone in life, you've grown, and it goes back and forth and stuff like that. So really, really cool ways. And it's dark. So, for example, this isn't. part of like the main storyline, but it's definitely kind of shows you the kind of scene that this TV series is set in and the type of characters and what's going on. So the the dad of the abducted girl, his, I don't want to say friend, but someone he knows, someone who's obviously grieving alongside her. It turns out when they're investigating him that he is someone that's also like runs a pedophile ring of some kind, and very sketchy, and then he goes in jail. His son kills himself because he gets caught up in something like in a type of sex tape type thing. The mom is obviously grieving. The mom of the no, sorry, the wife of this pedophile father. I'll rephrase it, but yeah, basically all these like dark characters. Um, who else is in the fucking show? Anyway, you gotta watch it. You watch it yourself and find out. I won't say too much to spoil it for you, but it's called The Snow Girl. That's season 1. Season 2 is called The Soul Game, and that is a completely different story. It carries on from season 1, so same character in terms of the police officer and the journalist, but then they're investigating a whole new thing. I didn't particularly like season 2 in comparison to season 1. I thought season 1 was far better. And I won't spoil it for you in terms of season 1. But what I will say is the person that does abduct the child is not who you think. It's quite random. It's quite a unique way of looking at it. It's definitely like a new take. I was like, oh, this is original. This is an original story. So I won't do a spoiler in terms of what happens and kind of ruins it for you. But do check it out if you like crime drama, detective thrillers. If you can handle your dark TV shows, it's for you. As I said before, it's set in Spain, so it's Spanish. Obviously, if you're Spanish, great. If you're not, like me, you gotta do a bit of reading. One of the things I hate about subtitle shows is you really gotta put the time in because you can't look away once. You know what I mean? Because the subtitles are obviously there, so you have to constantly be reading. You can't just miss a line because obviously every sentence that they put in is important. But anyway, yeah, that's this week's TV recommendation. It's on Netflix. It's called The Snow Girl, and it's a Spanish TV series.